have to get rid of Julius Randle. His negative, infectious behavior has totally undercut this team. And, the other night I'm watching, they're playing the Lakers, and he gets a technical sitting on his ass on the bench. I mean, like his 9th technical of the year, and, doesn't help up his buddy Obi Toppin off the ground. I mean, like little things like this, all these little, like just, I don't know, negative like vibes that we've gotten from him. We've been talking about this for a month now, I feel like. And, the Knicks fans, got on him. He then gave the thumbs down, which is like a big FU to the team.
Sure.
And then you watch the way that he has played, since then. And maybe he was in the middle of a decent game on Saturday night. But, my God, it's just like everything about him is completely negative. And, you want your highest paid player. By the way, he's not your best player. Your best player is R.J. Barrett. And R.J. Barrett should be the leader of this basketball team. But as long as you have guys like Julius Randle who are unhappy for whatever reason and not playing well, that's probably why he's unhappy in the reaction to the fact that he's not playing well. And then, of course, you have Kemba Walker who's basically doing nothing. I mean, you have these two older guys. They're prideful. They have a belief in their own skills and abilities. Doesn't match now all of a sudden with the coach who's basically, I don't know what the hell he's doing. He's not even playing Cam Reddish. But then again, he's the coach. He knows the players better than we do.
But there's still got to be a disconnect between the front office and the coach.
That's the second part of what I'm going to get to, and that is the disconnect between Leon Rose and I don't know if Scott Perry's still alive. Still alive. I don't even know where he is.
I hope so.
I mean, like,
if not, condolences.
There's absolutely no transparency whatsoever with this team.
Yeah.
And his team was beloved last year. There were no fans. And when the fans came back, it was the playoffs, and everybody was supporting Julius Randle. He got a big contract. Okay, but they're going to give him more than that? I don't think so. So he signed for what he thought he was worth, and he got the money. And then all of a sudden he played poorly. And he played poorly, I do believe, because teams played him differently. The moment he got the ball, they started double teaming. The next thing you know, there's offensive fouls, there's turnovers, and he becomes a clunky player. He's like a fire hydrant in the middle of the basketball court, especially on offense. And on defense, there's a lot of laziness. There's a lot of half-ass attempt to get back on defense, and you just see it. So it's almost like, hey, I got my contract. I'm good now. I'm going to become the biggest pain in the ass that I possibly can for the team. And he's ruined the team. His outlook has ruined the team. And as I said, if your highest paid player doesn't want to be here, looks like crap, is acting out anger management issues on the basketball court in many different ways, towards the fans, towards the officials, towards his teammates, you know what? You got to get rid of him. You have to. You have there is no redo here. This is like a colossal mistake. He is the wrong guy for this team. He is not a leader in any stretch of the imagination. And when you have a dour, just down personality that is your highest paid player, your team is completely in trouble. And can I ask you a question?
Sure, please. I would like to speak again at some point.
Is it Thibs or is it Thibs?
I vacillate on that as well. I want to say Thibs, but I end up saying Thibs and Thibodeau because I believe that's the way it's pronounced. Yes.
All right. I think most people refer to him as Thibs, though, right?
I think people say Thibs, but Tom Thibodeau, which is confusing.
I know that, but the reason I say that is because I was driving on Friday and I was listening to the Tiki and Tierney.
Oh, very nice.
Tierney has the Thibs.
He goes, Thibs?
Thibs. It's all Thibs. I'm like,
Brandon is a Thibs guy?
Yeah, he's a Thibs guy 100%. It was kind of annoying me a little bit.
It was annoying you?
Yeah, I don't know why. It was.
I'm surprised you didn't call in. You love to call in those spots.
Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. I don't want to get involved.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you could talk now.
All right. Here's the question. I'll ask you a question now. Does it matter to you that there is the lowest amount of value for Julius Randle in this very moment? Because that's exactly where we are. And if he's going to be dealt at the trade deadline right now, which is Thursday, what exactly are you getting back from him? But the other side of that coin is if you think that he could get better in the rest of the season and turn this thing around, his value goes up, then you hang on to him. But what sign has he shown you that is going to happen? So that's why I am with you. It has to happen now, regardless of the value situation, because it's like you're tethered to an anchor. And it's an anchor in a bad way, not like an anchor in a, hey, we're not moving because I got you. It's an anchor like we can't go forward because this guy is such a bad influence on this group.
As Steve Nash came out and said, we're not trading James Harden. Maybe
Which I thought was stupid, by the way.
Yeah, but that still may happen. Who knows? He doesn't want to be here either. But like I just look at Julius Randle and I'm like, he is so negative in every aspect of what he is doing. And the negative impact on the Obi Toppins of the world, the Cam Reddishes of the world, the R.J. Barretts, all these young players quickly. Hey, Thibs or Thibs, whatever the hell you want to call yourself, they're not winning anything. Yeah. They're not even remotely close to winning anything. No. And Leon Rose has screwed this team up royally. And, I don't know where this super agent is at the moment. And if there's a disconnect between the coaching staff and the front office, and I don't really give it. And here's the other thing. Julius Randle's going out of his way to praise James Dolan, and I'm sure James Dolan feels great that he's getting praised as opposed to getting hammered by Charles Oakley, who's hammering him still. And now all of a sudden comes Julius Randle, glowingly speaking of James Dolan. Hey, you got to get rid of this guy. If you think, and look, I'm not. We can all see the same thing. That's the thing. That's the frustrating part of it. We all see it. He's not getting better. His attitude is in the toilet. And that attitude is affecting and infecting the younger players in this roster. And if you want these younger players to ever become what you want them to become, having a guy like this leading them right now is absolutely atrocious.
Quiet down. So, if you think about this contract extension, which I thought was a great one at the time, is now become prohibitive because he's been so bad and he's been, as you mentioned, so negative. And what team would want to bring that into their group right now? His 4-year contract extension starts next year for $117 million. So, you're making phone calls saying, all right, not only do I have this disgruntled, not so great basketball player who doesn't want to be here, whose attitude changed in like a matter of months because he couldn't handle adversity, but his 4-year, $117 million contract extension didn't even start yet, and it starts next year. Yeah, now, if he was playing the way he was last year, this is a bargain, but he's playing the way he's playing this year. This is horrendous.
Well, he can't be the number one guy. R.J. Barrett's the number one guy right now. 100% the number one guy.
The Knicks don't have a number one guy.
Well, you know what? R.J. Barrett is the number one guy.
But he's not.
And you know what they should be? They should be a young team. The playoffs are a pipe dream.
Yeah.
They are a 100% pipe dream right now, and they have got to get rid of these people. I mean, Kemba Walker.
These people meaning Julius Randle.
Kemba Walker, Julius Randle, and Evan Fournier. They just got to get rid of them.
Yeah.
They got to let Toppin play. They got to let Quickly play. They got to let Cam Reddish play. They got to let R.J. Barrett play.
See, I don't think it's that easy just to unload these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever, but I'm just going.
That's a big part of it. You got to be desirable in some way.
Do you know if you remove this guy from the locker room, just the overall sigh of relief that will take over that roster?
I think so, yeah.
And you're not going to hear anything from these players, guys. None of these players are going to come out and bitch and complain about Julius Randle and the idiocy that is technical after technical, slapping the hand away of his teammate, not picking up his teammate as he's on the ground, giving the thumbs down to the fans, ordering DoorDash at a press conference, like an immature.
But this is my point. Like, what NBA teams sign me up for all this?
But maybe if he goes somewhere where he has not got to be the number one guy, if he's the number 3 guy, I don't know. He's tall, he's big, and when he is playing and he is happy, he is productive. But this unhappy, which is obvious to all of us. I mean, whatever it's anger management, I don't know what is driving all of it. Maybe it's just his basketball has been so bad and the Knicks fan has been rough on him.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like he's a guy who can handle this town when the heat gets turned up. Like, as simple and as cliche as that may be, and we've talked about it many, many times throughout the years of WFAN, there's certain guys who could come in here and could handle it. There's certain guys who could not. And last year, not only was it a shortened season, but there weren't as many fans in the building, and he was playing great. This year, fans are back. He's not playing great. He's feeling the heat and is reacting towards it negatively. So maybe he's just not built for this environment. And the other problem with Julius Randle is, it's not just like we came to know Julius Randle when he became a Knick. But there's also, the Julius Randle of the Pelicans, the Julius Randle of the Lakers, that people who are going to want to trade for him are going to look at how disappointing of a player he was in those spots, too, and be like, you're telling me I've got one season of a really, really good basketball player that was a pandemic sort of season, and then which ended up in a giant thud in the playoffs, and now I'm going to bring him into my room with 4 years and $117 million left on this contract. No one's going to want him unless you end up attaching other players and picks. But it can't be whatever, though, because the Knicks have to. They're not going to just to get rid of their Julius Randle problem. End up sacrificing the future.
Do you understand?
It's not as easy.
This Julius Randle problem is not. It's not just a problem. It's a mountain of a problem. It is a huge issue within the structure of the basketball team.
Would you attach, multiple picks or Emmanuel Quickly in a deal?
I don't know. Whatever.
Quentin Grimes, would you put?
No, I mean, look again.
But these are the questions that'll be asked.
And let somebody else answer them. I'm just telling you. You have to get rid of him.
Yeah.
You cannot go through another year of this. I mean, right. You are now seeing who this player is, both on the court and off the court. I mean, the anger issues are obvious to all of us. And that is like a weight on every single player on that roster. It's a weight on the coach. The coach is trying to, placate him any which way he can publicly. It's so pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic the way that Thibodeau is handling him. Like, I'd be sitting his ass on. Well, you can't. You probably can't because it's the NBA. But I would have been a long time ago. I would have sat him down.
Well, I mean, he sits everybody else down. So why not?
Saying. Like this, all of a sudden now, like for some reason, Thibodeau, I guess, feels like he owes him something, or the front office is saying you got to play him. I don't know what it is, but it is bad. I mean, it is just. There's nothing worse than a disgruntled player, especially when that disgruntled player, again, like I said, is your highest paid player. He's not your best player, but he's your highest paid player. And, he can do a triple-double, every fifth or sixth game. He'll have a double-double most nights. But just the turnovers, and they come at the wrong time. And when there's a shot that needs to be made, and, and he's dribbling the ball into the corner trying to get off a shot, it's got to be some ridiculous shot that he has no chance of making. I mean, it's and it's really embarrassing for the coach. If you ask me, it's embarrassing for the coach. I mean, like, the coach is just – I'm like, I thought you were supposed to be like a hard-nosed coach. The whole player is accountable.
Well, it was last year.
Anybody accountable.
And basically, it seems like all he's trying to do is win an argument with the front office with his rotations these days. That's what it feels like.
And again, I don't understand all the inner workings of the rotation, who the players that he likes are, and why he likes them, and that only the coach really truly knows that, and he spends the most time with the guys. So as much as I'd like to say just throw Cam Reddish out there, I also know that there has to be structure, and he does have some loyalties to some of the players that are already on the roster. But
but why they've been so bad?
I know. Well, that's the other part of it. I just, it's just so sad watching. If they're playing well, and RJ Barrett's like, I got LeBron, I'll take him, and all this other stuff, and then you got like a tee out of nowhere. From Julius Randle sitting on a bench of all places. His ninth technical foul, and you could hear the disgust in Breen's voice.
Sure. Yeah. He's seen it all this year unfold.
And they won't say anything. Those guys won't say, is Clyde going to say anything? Is anybody going to say anything about it? I mean, we got to say it.
Sure.
I mean, it's about as ugly as it gets, and it's unfortunate because it's a dead weight, and that dead weight is bringing the whole team down. and you got to get rid of it. I don't know, whatever it takes to get rid of it, just get rid of it.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.